Hello, and greetings to you. I am Shoshana with another Indigenous Oracle. And today we're going to be doing a reading for you if you are a Cancer. Lovers potential reading. So, who are you dealing with? This is mostly going to be for you if you are single or you just started dating somebody. What is the potential between you and the person that you're dealing with? This is just a collective, so if it does not resonate with you, it's simply not your story. Okay, what do we got going on for Cancer's love life? If you are single, what is the collective story? The collective story. Oh my, this is way too many cards. Should we take them? Okay, so we have door to value, Cancers wanting to date somebody that understands the door to value, being that of a place of desiring stability and security ultimately, of course. We have rest and rejuvenation. A lot of Cancer women don't want to work anymore. They don't want to work anymore, and they want rest and rejuvenation. However, there's a decision that has to be made. Leave a certain way of living for another, going from one house to another, from a family house to a studio, or from a family house to a date's house, moving in with a roommate. That's the decision that you have to make right now. And then we have a man holding a heart. The person that you are dealing with, whether this person is a brand new date or a brand new lover, wants to provide for you. They want to have a serious relationship with you. You know, a lot of times there are dating situations where the person is just dating for the short term, or dating for the adventure, or dating for the fun. But with these cards here, the Cancer collective is dealing with someone who is serious about you. And they are patiently waiting for you to make a decision towards them. Don't rush into things. So many times people move in together so quickly. And just make sure that the decision that you're making is not made hastily. A lot of Cancer people, a lot of Cancer sun signs are going to be having an opportunity to move into a household that can afford to have you move in. And then we have double mission. Once again, if you are a Cancer that is into healing arts, this is a validation, if you need it, that it is part of your double mission to be a channeler or to uplift and heal humanity. So maybe some of you are worried that if you were to move in with a certain person, that you won't have the freedom. Okay, give me 1 second. All right. Okay, so where were we? Some of you are worried that you're not going to be able to continue doing what you're passionate about, your entrepreneurship, your odd hobbies, your therapeutic art, certain things that you do that you only do when you're alone, things like that. So that is why I find it so important to remind you, to tell you, whether you are male or female, to take your time when moving in with the person that you're dating. Take your time, take your sweet, sweet time in making that decision. There's no need for a sense, there's no need to have a sense of urgency, okay? Unless your mental health is at stake. But even then, when you make your decision of whether or not you're going to move in with your date or move in on your own, just make sure that when you make that decision that you are in a peaceful state of mind, home alone. I don't know how people can make decisions when there's people home. Like, I commend you if you're one of those people, but I'm one of those people that if I have to make a very important decision, I will wait until I am home alone and there's no noise except for little insects or little birdies to make my decisions. There's no way. I cannot make any decisions when there are loud noises like my roommates. So make sure that when you make your decision, you are in silence so that you make the best decision possible. Because your sense of independence is so important. A lot of people can tease you, including myself, and say, oh, well, you can never live on your own. But I'm not going to do that because it's so important for everybody to experience what that feels like. Regardless, if you have a significant other or not, or there's someone that you're interested in or someone that you're dating, it's so important for you to experience what it feels like to live alone, and I don't think that it's true that Cancers could not handle living alone. I don't think that's true. I don't think you could handle living alone on the long term. But on the short to medium term, I think that you will find something addicting about living alone. You are given an opportunity to create your own world. So, of course, there's a passionate union between you and someone, but don't sacrifice your independence for it. Don't give someone too much and give yourself a little less. You understand what I'm saying? I feel that because you've never been on your own, or you've never been in a situation where you're not living in the household, the family household, you're going to be desperate to move out. I mean, some of you probably already did. You went from one house to a spouse house. But if you can prevent it, I suggest experiencing living on your own for a couple of months. I mean, hey, I don't know if it's just me, but when I'm home alone, there's this sense of peace that I cannot explain. You know, it's like I reconnect to source and it just feels so peaceful and perfect. It just feels like perfect, like silence. I mean, really, there's no such thing as silence. You know, silence is just a game. Like, let's pretend to be silent in a world filled with noise. You know, there's the Om, the universal Om vibration sound that never goes away. So there really is no such thing as silence, but to be silent within our own interior and pay attention to our breathing gives this natural high, especially when, you know, reconnecting with God, source, whatever you want to call it, stellar gate. And I wish that somebody would have told me that. I'm a Cancer moon in Vedic astrology. So my Western signs are completely different from my Vedic. And in Vedic, I'm considered a Cancer moon. So I understand the feelings that Cancers go through. But I wish that somebody would have told me what I just told you. You know, to experience what it feels like to live alone. I was taught to fear being alone, you know, to fear it, that it's something that I should fear and should desperately avoid because of watching my mother desperately choose her dates over her own children. So that's programming a child to think that you're incapable of being independent as an individual. You desperately have to constantly cling on to someone, you know. The happiest that I have ever been has been when I was single, living on my own. And the most miserable that I ever was living with people that I moved in with way too fast. So I just wanted to share that with you just in case you're in a similar situation. It's nothing personal against the person that you have recently started dating. It's not about them. It's about your mental health. So if you do move in quickly with someone that you just started dating, make sure that you see, it's just not the same thing. I don't know why. I just can't help to feel this way. I feel like there's something that you need to learn that you'll never learn unless you're living alone. And those of you who live alone are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who live alone, can you imagine what that would feel like if you ever didn't live alone? You know, and you look back and you're like, man, what would life be if I never experienced that? There's so much that you would have not learned. There's so much that you would have missed out on. And so many people go from one situation to another, from the fire to a boiling pot. Not to say that you're doing that with your person at all. I'm totally just ranting in general about people and how the codependent mindset wants to move in too quickly with a toxic person, you know? And I'm not saying that you're dealing with someone that's toxic at all. I'm just saying that it's common. It's common for people to just quickly move in. And just imagine, I just want you to think for a second. Usually Cancer women have gorgeous eyes. Okay, usually Cancer women have big, exotic, gorgeous eyes. And when you make eye contact with them, you feel like they're looking straight into your soul. That's usually how you know that you're looking at a Cancer woman. However, there are phases. There's phases that go on internally within you. So depending on how you're feeling, there are certain things that you choose and not choose to acknowledge by default. So whoever is serious about you is not going to want to lose you. They're going to want to move the relationship forward. And what then? It would be marriage. And what then? It would be children. Do you understand what I'm saying? You need to think more about the future. Cancers, you're like a sponge. You feel the present moment. You get lost in the present moment. You reminisce about the past. But for the future, you're frantic. You're frantic like a crab. You know, sidestepping like a crab, frantic, because the future, you don't understand it. Well, you need to start understanding the future so that you can prevent it by thinking about it. Don't think so much about the past. Think more about the present and the future, because you need to think about the fact that you're going to be a mom, that you're going to be a wife, that you're going to be in a household for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, just like your family. And you're never going to experience a being home alone ever again. So why on earth would you want to rush into moving in with this new person, especially if this person is not effing around and they want to be serious with you? Do you see where I'm going with this? So you need to appreciate every second, every day that you have that you're living alone, because once you live with your significant other, it's a different energy. It becomes a team unit. It's no longer you in your own little world. I mean, I guess you can kind of create that with financial stability in the future of having such a big house where both of you have your own sides. But the energy changes. And I just feel like people who are so used to being surrounded by family like you don't look ahead of time. I mean, I'm talking to the ones who are always surrounded by people. Okay, I'm not talking to the ones that are already living on their own. If you're already living on your own, you know what's up. You know what I'm talking about. You're like, oh my, you've learned so much. You've gained so much wisdom living on your own, right? But the mass group that I want to get through, that are always surrounded by people, you're just going to repeat the exact same thing that your family did. And then that's why a lot of Cancer women lose their minds and have kind of a bad reputation, because they give too much to people and they forget about themselves and they forget about their own existence as a one whole piece, without any attachments. Is so important to remember who you are, why you're here, your identity, your roots. And you're actually one of those signs that I got a side message for having a soul identity crisis. There's some people that have a physical body identity crisis. You cancers have a soul identity crisis because you're always surrounded by people. So, like I said, the ones who live by themselves, the cancers who live by themselves, are accelerating at a very fast pace and calling out all of the deception that they've been observing on their end. But the ones that are surrounded by a lot of people, you will never get to know yourself and who you really are if you're constantly surrounded by them. You'll simply be living your life in this default mode like a clone. You know, it's like living like a clone. You can't get to know yourself if you're constantly surrounded by people. And your reading has been similar for years. We have ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. This is literally you needing to leave that state of mind of, oh, I need to be in the house, surrounded by people all the time. No, this is you leaving the cave. This is you leaving the cave, exiting the cave to get grounded and upgrade all of your abilities. You're empathic, you're highly sensitive, connect with nature. Hello, you're the freaking Cancer sign, supposedly connected to the moon, which I disagree with. I disagree with you being connected to the moon. I think that you are connected to something beyond the moon. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? Exactly. You're always giving. This is why you're in a soul identity crisis. Not knowing who you are, just mimicking other people or mimicking modern society, but there's an emptiness about you. The last time that you seemed like you were filled with some substance was in high school. You know, when you were in high school, you were filled with all these liquid rainbow colors, and then something traumatic happened and you just stopped believing in something. You're already doing it. Stop overthinking it. Keep facing your true north. A card from the Wisdom of the Tao. Your cross watcher is not going to be happy. No, I have nothing against your cross watcher. I'm actually doing you a favor. I want you to have the most mentally well-balanced partner that you possibly can have. And if you move in with them too fast, you're just not going to get that, because you're just going to get something that is trying to find themselves, and it's going to be even more difficult to find themselves when they're constantly worried that someone's going to walk through the door. We have moving on. Strive for a bigger purpose. Do not see the lotus bud. See instead the lotus blossom. Don't focus on the moment, for it is temporary. The future is better than today, even when it's not in view. This is exactly what we were talking about. Change. Leap forward and dare to make that change. There will be sacrifices and roadblocks, but you are protected. It is an imminent move. What is stale and depressed will be revitalized with this new energy. Okay, so all I want for you to do is to live on your own for a couple of months, okay? If that's possible, I just want you to live alone for a couple of months. Did we do one of these? Did we do a dream oracle card? And then move in with your partner, okay? That's the best compromise that I can do. You know, if you know, you know. It's just one of those things where it all depends on how much you want to get to know yourself. You know, some people don't mind living their life on default mode, like a freaking robot. Some people don't mind living like that. Some people don't mind living their life just copying others. Some people don't mind just living whatever is expected of them according to their roots. You know, it all varies. But I just find it very hard to believe that you're okay with continuing to live a life where you are completely disconnected from your internal self. Revealing your secret power that you have oppressed. You have oppressed your own secret power. So, in regards to lover's potential, the lover's potential is great. It's very serious. So serious that you should take your precious time before getting married and living the married life, because once you do that, there's no turning back. You are gonna be stuck there for a long time. Okay, we have Let Love Transform. This is so beautiful. I'm so happy to end with this card. Let love transform. Take your time. The best relationships are the ones where you establish a relationship first and you hang out for as much time as possible. Don't rush anything. The more that you take your time with this person, the happier you will be. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Bye.